Nobody in the basketball world was prepared for what unfolded. Not Team USA, not the coaching staff, not the seasoned veterans who believed they controlled the environment, and certainly not the media, which had reportedly been trying to keep the situation quiet. At the center of it all was Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in women's basketball and a player many see as the face of the sport. But this time, she reached her breaking point. According to insiders, she didn't hold back. She stood firm, looked the coaches in the eye, and delivered a statement that stunned everyone into silence. If this is how Team USA operates, she's out. The reaction was immediate. Players froze, staff scrambled, and even the veterans began to realize this wasn't just another rookie adjustment moment. It had escalated into something much bigger. Sources suggest this wasn't triggered by a single incident, but rather a build-up of tension. Patterns of treatment behind the scenes that felt targeted, testing her limits and challenging her position. For the first time, Clark reportedly decided she wouldn't stay quiet. She spoke openly about what had been happening during drills, what was said in private meetings, and even called out behavior that crossed a line. The situation grew even more serious as some coaches privately admitted that if she followed through and walked away, it could spark a public crisis for Team USA. What she knows, and what she might reveal, has the potential to disrupt the established hierarchy of women's basketball. This is no longer just about locker room tension or clashing egos. It signals something deeper, a shift in power that could redefine the sport. And Caitlin Clark is on the verge of blowing the lid wide open. Long before that shocking "I quit" moment sent United States women's national basketball team officials scrambling, before whispers leaked from closed-door meetings, before reporters suddenly went quiet and players started unfollowing each other online. This story had already been building for months. The tension didn't begin at camp or during the first practice or even when roster decisions were being discussed. It started much earlier, the moment Clark stepped into women's basketball and began rewriting the rules in real time. From her first appearance on a college court. And she wasn't just another rising talent. She became a phenomenon. A ticket-selling, ratings-breaking, culture-shifting force who pulled millions of new eyes into the game. And that kind of impact doesn't come without consequences. Veterans felt the shift, coaches couldn't ignore it, and analysts couldn't stop debating it. Some welcomed her rise, but others saw it as a disruption. Because Clark wasn't just the new face in the room. She was the reason the entire room suddenly mattered. She was the one kids lined up to see, the one networks competed to broadcast, the one whose jersey sales skyrocketed almost overnight. And in the world of elite sports, especially within a system like United States women's national basketball team, built on seniority, hierarchy, and legacy, that kind of rapid rise doesn't just turn heads, it disrupts the balance. So when Caitlin Clark received her invitation to camp, the reaction behind the scenes wasn't the universal excitement fans might have expected. Some welcomed her, others were curious, but a few were quietly resistant. Comments began circulating in private. "It's too soon, she hasn't earned it, she's being overhyped, the program needs proven names." These weren't public statements. They were whispers, repeated by insiders, echoing through locker rooms and practice facilities before she even stepped onto the court. For some veterans, this wasn't just another new addition. It felt like a direct challenge to their place in the system. They had built their reputations within Team USA, and they weren't eager to see a young superstar walk in and immediately command attention. And Clark could feel it right away. The tension wasn't loud, but it was there. In the looks, the hushed conversations, the cold shoulders, even the physical edge during drills. What might have seemed accidental to outsiders carried a different meaning on the inside. According to insiders, one veteran reportedly said she needed to be humbled before Paris, while another questioned how she'd handle real defense. The message was clear long before she ever touched the ball. The tone had already been set. But Caitlin Clark wasn't oblivious. She wasn't naive, and she certainly wasn't intimidated. She entered the United States women's national basketball team camp with the same quiet confidence that defined her college career. Shoulders back, chin up, completely locked in. She wasn't there to take over or step on anyone's legacy. She came to learn, to compete, and to earn her place. But from the very first drill, something felt off. The rhythm wasn't right. Passes didn't come her way. Drill pairings seemed intentionally disruptive. Film sessions highlighted her mistakes, while similar errors from others went unaddressed. There was a pattern forming, and it was hard to ignore. At first, she told herself it was just part of the process. A test, a competitive environment where nothing is given, everything is earned. She stayed composed, stayed focused, and kept working. But the tests didn't fade, they intensified. What began as subtle tension started to feel more deliberate, more calculated. The energy around her didn't ease up, it tightened. And according to insiders, the situation crossed a line that was hard to dismiss. As one source put it, this wasn't just typical rookie treatment, it was something else entirely. As it felt like sabotage, and the tension didn't stop there. Outside the facility, media pressure kept building around Caitlin, adding another layer of stress. Reporters pushed for constant updates, networks chased exclusive content, and fans flooded team pages asking where she was, who she was training with, and what her role would be. That spotlight only made things worse inside the team. Some veterans began to feel overshadowed, others disrespected, and a few even invisible despite their years with Team USA. The atmosphere quickly turned cold and uncomfortable. The breaking point came during what should have been a routine scrimmage. In a transition drill, Caitlin called for the ball while standing completely open, no defender within 10 feet. A veteran guard made eye contact with her, then deliberately turned away and ignored her. Not just once, but multiple times. Everyone saw it, players, coaches, and Caitlin herself. Still, she stayed composed. Then things escalated. Out of nowhere, she was hit with an aggressive, unnecessary body check that sent her crashing to the floor. Gasps echoed from the sidelines. Instead of offering a hand, the player who knocked her down walked past, muttering something under her breath. Something described by insiders as deeply personal and disrespectful. Caitlin rose slowly, showing no anger, no tears, no retaliation, just a quiet, unmistakable look of disappointment. But the veterans weren't finished. During the next timeout, someone said it loud enough for the staff to hear. She better get used to the bench. That was the moment everything shifted. Caitlin realized this wasn't competitiveness or intensity, and it definitely wasn't just basketball culture. This felt targeted, intentional, and personal. Yet when practice ended, nothing was addressed. Coaches didn't pull the veteran aside, didn't acknowledge the hit, and didn't even check on Caitlin. They simply dismissed everyone as if nothing had happened. Holding back tears, not from pain, but from pure disbelief, Caitlin walked quietly to the locker room. Later, she confided in someone close to her, saying she didn't come there to be anyone's enemy, she came to work. But the final blow didn't come from a player. It came from a coach. During a team meeting, Caitlin asked for clarification on a defensive scheme, one that had been changed without informing her group. Instead of guidance, she was met with a sharp response. If she spent less time worrying about attention and more time studying, she'd already know. The room went completely silent. Caitlin's expression fell, and players shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Even the veterans who had been hostile toward her felt that line had been crossed. She took a slow breath, then another, and finally stood up. The words she spoke next shook the entire Team USA program. If this is what Team USA is, if this is the environment, if this is how you treat the people who are supposed to represent this country. Her eyes burned with intensity as she pushed her chair back slowly. Then I quit. Gasps, shouts, and chaos erupted. Coaches scrambled, executives panicked, and players stared in disbelief. Caitlin didn't yell. She didn't lash out. She didn't break down. She walked out with her head held high, and behind her, a storm was brewing. Back in the locker room, the tension was raw. Some players were furious, not because Caitlin left, but because they realized what she had seen. One veteran slammed her fist against her locker. "Nina, she better not talk about the scrimmage," she hissed. Another muttered, "If she exposes what happened with the rotation chart, we're all getting dragged." A third whispered the line that revealed everything. She saw the plan. She wasn't supposed to see it. A cover-up was on their hands, and they knew it. Meanwhile, in the hallway, a staffer who had spoken to Caitlin earlier rushed into the coach's office. "We have a major problem." The head coach didn't even look up. "What now?" The staffer swallowed hard. "Caitlin said she's going public tonight." The coach froze. "What do you mean, public?" "She's going to expose everything. The sabotage, the bullying, the tampered gear. All of it." Silence fell. One coach whispered, "We're dead." Another muttered, "This is what happens when we let the media pick our players." Suddenly, a senior Team USA official entered the room, high-ranking enough that even the head coach straightened. He said only one sentence. "Stop her before she speaks." Inside the locker room, something unexpected was unfolding. A younger player who had admired Caitlin since college sat quietly on the bench, staring at her phone, tears in her eyes. Finally, she whispered to another rookie everything Caitlin had said. She wasn't lying. "You saw them tamper with her shoes?" the rookie asked. "I saw them whispering over her locker before practice," the younger player admitted. "I didn't know what they were doing, but now I do." The rookie exhaled sharply. "Are you going to say something?" The young player shook her head, the weight of silence and fear heavy in the room. "They'll ruin me if I do." And that was the culture Caitlin walked out of. Outside, she reached her car but didn't drive away. She sat in the driver's seat, staring at her reflection, replaying every moment. The hit, the whispers, the sabotage, the secret meetings, the humiliation. Most painfully, she heard the coach's voice again in her mind. "She's not one of us." Tears slipped down her cheeks. Not from weakness, but from realization. They never wanted her there. Not because she wasn't good enough, but because she was too good. Her phone buzzed. It was her agent. "Caitlin, call me now. We have a situation." She answered. "What?" Her agent exhaled sharply. "They're already spinning the story. Sources inside Team USA are telling reporters you overreacted and walked out during a normal practice. They're trying to make you look unstable." Caitlin's chest tightened. "Of course they are." Her agent continued. "That's not the worst part. They're preparing a statement saying you misunderstood instructions and acted emotionally." Caitlin's eyes narrowed. "They want to paint me as dramatic. They want to discredit me before I speak." Her anger ignited, white-hot, electric, blinding. "They sabotaged my gear, targeted me in drills, sidelined me in meetings, and told players to freeze me out. And now they get to control the narrative?" Her agent whispered, "Not if you speak first." Caitlin stared straight ahead. "Then I'm speaking tonight." Back inside the building, the panic was spreading. A veteran player stormed into the coach's office. "You better fix this. If she talks, we all look like bullies." The head coach rubbed his temples. "We will handle it." "No, you don't get it," the veteran snapped. "She has proof. She saw the rotation chart. She knows we were planning to bench her." Another coach whispered, "She also heard you tell the defender to hit her." The room fell silent, tension thick, as everyone realized just how exposed they had become. Caitlin whispered, "If that leaks, my career is done." While across the building, a senior Team USA official paced, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, it's out of control. If she posts, the internet will destroy us. We protect the program, not the player," he said, chillingly. Outside, Caitlin wiped her tears and hit record on her phone. Fear didn't touch her. So confusion didn't stop her. Just before uploading, a DM appeared. "You don't know the real reason they were trying to silence you." More messages came, faster, unraveling everything she thought she knew. It wasn't jealousy, politics, or veteran politics. It was bigger, tied to someone powerful and the White House. You were never the target. You're the blocker. And you just stepped aside. The final message read. Caitlin froze, horrified. She had walked away from the only place that could protect her. The parking lot eerily still, the world seemingly holding its breath. You were never the target. You're the blocker. And you just stepped aside. Her heart hammered in her chest. Blocker. Blocker for what? For whom? She read the message over and over until the words blurred into a puzzle she couldn't fit together. Then the staffer from earlier burst through the doors, eyes locking on her. Caitlin, wait, don't leave. You're in danger. In danger from who? She demanded, narrowing her eyes. The staffer shook their head. Not the veterans, not the coaches, not Team USA. Them. Caitlin froze. The person behind all of this? The staffer swallowed hard. You weren't sabotaged because they hate you. You were sabotaged so you wouldn't make the roster, so you wouldn't stand in the way when someone makes their move. Caitlin stepped back. What move? Who? The staffer glanced around nervously. Someone outside Team USA. Someone with power. They want a specific veteran to be the face of women's basketball at the Olympics. Not you, not the new generation. Her. Caitlin blinked slowly. You mean the whole camp was rigged? For her? The staffer nodded. She has connections, sponsorships, political influence. You're too unpredictable. Too influential. You don't owe the old system anything, and that scares them. Caitlin's chest burned. Her pulse raced. The staffer hesitated, then whispered the name. Caitlin's eyes went wide. Her? Are you serious? So, I was never the problem. You were the threat. Caitlin's phone buzzed again. Another DM from the same anonymous account. Her fingers shook as she opened it. You think walking out gives you power? It doesn't. It gives them exactly what they wanted. Her breath hitched. They wanted me to quit, she whispered. Yes, the staffer said. Now the old guard gets the roster spot without having to beat you. But the message wasn't done. Another line appeared. Don't believe me. Check the news. Caitlin switched apps, heart sinking. A major sports outlet had already posted, breaking. Team USA expected to replace Caitlin Clark with longtime veteran. Official announcement coming. She felt the ground vanish beneath her. They already replaced me. Within minutes, she whispered. The staffer's voice cracked. Because they expected you to walk out. This entire day, from the drills to the hit to the meetings, was engineered to push you over the edge. A chilling realization slammed into her. Yoso, the coach, the rotation chart, the tempered shoes, all of it. The staffer nodded. A coordinated effort. Caitlin stared at the floor, molten anger rising in her chest. This isn't just sabotage, she murmured. No, the staffer said quietly. This is a takeover. And then her phone buzzed again. A new message, a video this time. Caitlin hesitated, pressed play, and the screen revealed a dark boardroom. Silhouettes seated around a long table, a projector illuminating roster notes and sponsorship agreements. A voice, unmistakably the influential figure the staffer had warned her about, said, We cannot let Caitlin Clark control the narrative. She's too powerful. Limit her minutes. Sabotage if necessary. She must not make the final roster. Caitlin's world tilted. Her hands trembled, her jaw locked, and then the voice delivered the final blow. If she refuses to break, then break her reputation instead. The video cut to black. Caitlin felt the air punched from her lungs. This wasn't tension. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't competitiveness. This was an organized campaign to erase her place on Team USA and control the face of women's basketball. They were scared of me, she whispered. The staffer shook their head. No, B didn't. They were scared of what happens when someone like you can't be controlled. Then headlights flashed across the parking lot. A black SUV pulled up, tinted windows reflecting the facility lights. Caitlin stepped back. Is that someone from Team USA? The staffer's face drained of colour. No, that's one of her people. The back door opened. A tall figure stepped out. Caitlin, we need to talk. Caitlin froze, pulse roaring in her ears. The staffer whispered urgently, "Do not go with them." The figure took another step. Caitlin, walking out was a mistake. Let's discuss how to fix this. Caitlin's jaw tightened. There's nothing to fix. The figure smirked. Oh, but there is. You think exposing us will save you? It'll only expose you. Caitlin's heart raced. What are you talking about? The figure folded their hands behind their back. You have secrets too, Caitlin. Ones we can release just as easily as you release ours. Her breath caught. What secrets? The figure grinned. Ask your college coach. Caitlin's knees weakened. College coach? What about her college coach? But before she could respond, the figure added, You think tonight was about stopping you. It wasn't. It was about preparing the world for what she was really hiding. Caitlin felt her entire world collapse. What am I hiding? The figure opened their car door. Thought you'd find out tomorrow? And just like that, they were gone, leaving Caitlin trembling in the parking lot, the black SUV disappearing into the dark, the words, Ask your college coach, echoing in her head. The horrifying realization hit. She wasn't just exposing Team USA. Team USA was preparing to expose her. They weren't scared of her talent. They were terrified of what she knew and what she might reveal if pushed too far. Now Caitlin understood something she hadn't before. This wasn't about basketball. It wasn't about minutes, rotations, veteran egos, or bad practices. This was a war, a political battle, a marketing battle, a battle for control over the future of women's basketball. Someone with influence, reach, and motives deeper than the Olympics orchestrated everything. The sabotage, the humiliation, the pressure, the hit, the media spin, the setup. And now they were ready to fight back with secrets from her own past. Secrets tied to her college program. Secrets she might not even know, buried until tonight. And this isn't the end. It's the beginning of the biggest scandal women's basketball has ever seen. And now it's your turn. Do you think Caitlin is being framed? Is the boardroom video real? Were the veterans acting on orders or jealousy? Who do you think is the powerful figure pulling the strings? And what secret from Caitlin's college years are they threatening to expose? Drop your theories. Smash the like button. It tells the algorithm this story matters. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't miss the next chapter when Caitlin fights back and the truth comes out. This isn't just basketball anymore. This is a war for the future of the sport. And Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of it.